So first I want to say, my name's Ryan. This talk was actually made by my collaborator, Joe Edelman, who is unfortunately recovering from an illness. So I am going to channel him in giving this talk. And I think the main thing I want to start with is basically a way of thinking about this project that we're undertaking. Like, what are we doing here? And this question of post-AGI civilizational equilibria is like quite a significant opportunity. And I'm going to kind of talk about it in the context of institution design, which we've kind of mentioned it before in some of the previous talks. So talk about institutions. A very common one that people talk about with respect to AI is the International Atomic Energy Agency. We talk about stuff like nuclear non-proliferation. You know, maybe we need similar things for AI. But while I agree we need new institutions to handle new tech, new kinds of social change, I think we might need to go a bit further back in history. So who here has heard of the Federalist Papers? Nice. Great. I guess I'm Canadian, so I expect the number to be lower. So basically, it was a debate in the US about what form the new US society should take after the split from Britain by these guys. And these guys were arguing for an entire new, what you could call a social stack. So from new kinds of identity and individuals, new kinds of associations, a stronger role for markets, private property, new kinds of civic institutions, for example, the press, and then the legislature and courts and constitution on top. And so they had these kinds of debates. The Federalist Papers were written kind of in public over the course of 2 years after the Articles of Confederation. And, it was basically a proposal and an argument for the new Constitution, which was a kind of very significant redesign of like how institutions work or could work. And, this was happening in the United States, but it was, well, this is kind of like an example of a way of operationalizing the institutions that they were advocating for. And it was happening in the US, but also it was happening in many other countries at the same time. So, for example, France. So, I said it happened over 2 years. The question is, why did it have to happen so quickly? And I think there's a few reasons for that. One is there was significant technological change happening at the time. So print and industry, the printing press, those were kind of like upending monarchies. So there's a crisis of legitimacy amongst monarchies. There was the bourgeois, so new kinds of social classes, and the previous systems were kind of clearly failing in a certain way. And so it seems like we're kind of in a similar situation right now in some ways. So we have a new kind of technology. We have no idea how to govern it. We have new kinds of elites. We also seem to have a crisis of legitimacy of our current social institutions. And we need to have a kind of public debate about what kind of new social stack we're going to need to get the civilizational equilibrium we like. So all that to say, one way of conceiving what we're doing is a kind of a similar magnitude to the founding of the United States. And I will kind of agree with what Liam Patel said in his talk earlier, which is, we don't just have technological determinism, but also ideas matter. And we have agency in shaping how these institutions come about. So a couple of days ago, we put out this paper called Full Stack Alignment with a bunch of authors in this room. And we kind of characterize some ingredients of what we think this new social stack needs to look like. Full stack alignment, in short, means co-aligning AI and institutions with what people value. And I will only have the time to flash some key claims. So, one is we can't align AI systems in isolation. The other is we talk about values and norms, and there's non-trivial things we can say about values and norms without being paternalistic. And we can encode this into representations of values and norms that can be used by these new institutions that we'll design, so that they can act on our behalf. And this borrows from a lot of existing philosophy. Yes, and this, in the paper we talk a bit more about like what specific kinds of institutions this could result in, from new kinds of democratic institutions to new economic mechanisms and so forth. I'm out of time. This is a picture of a recent workshop we did exploring these ideas, and we need a lot of help. And maybe you could be in one of these pictures too. Thank you.